Let's bring in Danny Ainge, the Celtics GM. You know, speaking of the Dodgers going 43-7, I was wondering about your baseball career as you go back. Best pitcher you ever faced was who?
Oh, I would say Jack Morris gave me the most problems.
Why?
He had a split finger in those days that was fairly new to the league, and he threw about 95 miles an hour, but that split finger got me. But I had a game or two where I got a couple of hits off of Nolan Ryan, and he was pretty special too. But I would say Jack Morris.
That's pretty good, though. You got a couple of knocks off Nolan Ryan. Did he strike you out?
Oh, yeah. Got some strikeouts on me, too.
But what was that moment, that crystallization where you go, I can't play. I don't want to play baseball anymore?
Oh, Dan, I don't think that ever happened. I loved baseball. I was a youngster. I didn't really give it much of a shot because I was always playing it in between my basketball season in college. But I didn't really I felt like I could make it in baseball. And it was just more, I don't think had I been drafted by the Lakers or the Celtics that I would have gone to the NBA, and I probably would have stayed in baseball.
2 career home runs. By the way, Danny spent 3 seasons with the Toronto Blue Jays. Those 2 home runs came off of?
I know one came off of Joe Decker. I don't remember the second one.
Danny, you only hit 2.
I know it. That's not that many to remember.
No,
but they weren't really that memorable.
All right, let me talk to you about the offseason. Explain to me how it works, where you and Philadelphia get together to have this trade, but who calls who first to initiate?
Philadelphia called us to initiate, I think, but I'm not sure. I mean, at the time of the draft, Dan, we're talking to everybody. Myself and guys on my staff, we're talking to see if there's just any interest in moving around, moving up, moving down. Obviously, we could only move down. And at the same time, we're evaluating all the kids. We're getting them in. We're interviewing them. We're, watching them do workouts and just having conversation about all the different possibilities. So I can't actually remember who initiated the calls, but it's pretty common that you have conversation with everybody in that area.
How do you know when somebody's telling you the truth?
You don't. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you just know what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish, and it doesn't matter who's telling the truth. You just try to make the best deal for your team.
Can you be too young?
Too young to be a general manager?
No. No.
Can your team be too young?
Yeah, to compete. Like, are you too young?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not hard for young players to contribute to good teams. I mean, we've seen that time and time again throughout our history in the NBA, but you can have too many young players for sure. It's tough for a group of young players to lead a team to have a lot of wins, but you can have some. You can have a couple guys that can contribute at a young age.
Why do you think Paul George is in an Oklahoma City uniform?
I don't know. I think that was a difficult situation where he was expressing interest in going, or at least publicly, going to the out west to, when his free agent year was up, put some pressure on Indiana to try to get something in return for him. And Oklahoma City made the offer that enticed Indiana more than anybody else.
But do you think that it played into the fact that you don't want to keep him in the East where he comes back to haunt you? That I felt like they took a lesser deal to go to send him west than keep him in the Eastern Conference. Is that fair assessment?
I don't know. You would have to ask them that. Everybody sees these deals in different ways.
But did you give a better deal?
Like the players they got.
Did you give a better deal than that?
That's a matter of opinion, and everybody else's opinion doesn't matter. The only one that matters is Indiana's opinion of who the best deal was.
How do the Cavs affect what you do? Or do they?
It doesn't. No.
Nothing.
Nothing. It doesn't matter. I mean, we have our own problems and our own challenges, and trying to put players together that can win and compete in the league today is very difficult. And I mean, obviously, we're competing to try to get the same players that everybody wants in the league. But other than that, we're not reacting to things that they're doing right now. They have a great team. I mean, when you have LeBron James on your team, I mean, you got to find some players that can compete against him, and that's tough to do. He's been the best player in the league for the last 5 or 6 years.
If I said let's match LeBron's best season against Bird's best season, I think Bird at 30 or 31 almost averaged a triple-double. You remember that season, I'm going to guess, right?
Right.
Would you? Is it similar?
They're just different. LeBron he's a cross between Michael and Magic. I mean, he's such a fantastic passer, like Magic was. He's so strong, like Magic was. He's more athletic, but then he has this ability to score. I think LeBron is very, very special. And I say this all the time when the players ask me who's better. I mean, I think Kareem and Magic and LeBron, those guys are all worthy of being considered the best players of all time. But I think and Bill Russell, but I think that Larry, what he was so special at is just so hard to find. I mean, he was so great, such a great competitor, but also such a great finisher of games. The guy played with amazing confidence. There's a lot of games that we've played against LeBron over the years where he's just been unguardable, and you just can't guard him, and you just tip your hat and say he's just so special. But there are other games where he struggles with his outside shooting, and and we're able to win, and he doesn't play with that same sort of confidence with his shot. But his shot's getting better and better and better as he ages, and the more that shot goes in, the more unguardable he just becomes.
Yeah, he just recently passed Bird on my list of the all-time. Reggie Miller and I were talking about it, and Reg said, "I love Larry, but LeBron he moved past Larry," and which I understand, and I'm sure Larry would agree with that. But I wonder, Larry in today's generation shooting the three, how much different he would have been.
He was a great shooter. I mean, Larry didn't shoot the threes. It was just a different era. Like, I tried to get Larry to shoot more threes, and, he wouldn't. I mean, our guys just grew up. We grew up, field goal percentage was important. Now true shooting percentage and scoring efficiency is important, and the three-point line is utilized more and more, and it was evolving. None of us played with the three-point line in high school or college. So, yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, with the three-point line, and if Larry had utilized the three-point line more, he would coming into the game today after playing it in high school and college and coming into the NBA, he'd be one of the great shooters of all time.
Gordon Hayward, the pitch that you had, how involved were you with? Obviously involved, but did you? Who seals the deal in that situation with Hayward?
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of factors. I think our players sealed the deal. Our coaching staff sealed the deal. The city of Boston, our tradition, had an impact. I think that more than anything, Gordon really wants to win, is the impression that I got from him. And I thought that Coach Stevens did a fantastic job of presenting to Gordon a pathway to winning, how he would be utilized in our system and with our players. And I think that ultimately, I think he saw that pathway to winning and success better in Boston than he did in other places.
Are you a better team than Cleveland now?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, the summer and the off season's not over. There's still time. And there's a lot of factors there. But, we have some new guys, and we haven't done anything yet. We've just had an off season where we've acquired some players that we like, and that's a question maybe I can answer in November or December, but certainly can't answer it now.
Danny is obviously the Celtics GM, president of basketball operations, but his son Tanner, he's helping his election campaign in Utah. So he's come up with a unique fundraising opportunity. That's tonight. Admission is free. Give me some details on this. What do I get for $25 showing up here for this campaign fund?
Well, you get a chance to dunk me, and I know there's a lot of Utah fans that are not happy with me right now. And yeah, you get a chance to dunk me in the tank. It's it's at 1426 East, 750 North in Orem, Utah. At 7:00 tonight. My son Tanner is an amazing young man. He's with a great work ethic. He has great experience, not necessarily in politics, but in the financial world and the healthcare world. He's been a practicing attorney. He's very smart, very educated and driven, and I think he'd be an amazing candidate. Sometimes I wonder, why do people want to get in politics? And he has so many opportunities outside of the political field, but he really wants to make a difference, and I think he can. So, yeah, we're 100% behind him.
Give me that address again. It's 7:00 tonight, $25. You show up, you'll be in a dunk tank, and you can fire away. So
1426 East, 750 North in Orem, Utah.
By the way, John Montague was the other pitcher who gave up a home run to you.
Oh, okay. I remember that now. I could have answered that to an old question, but was the last time that I saw you, was that we played golf with Marley in Phoenix?
Yeah.
That was like 2002.
Yeah. What were you doing then? You were still playing, weren't you?
No, I think I was doing television. I think I was in your world of the media. And I was working for AT&T doing NBA games. But then, a year later, I took this job.
But how nervous? I know you're a competitor, but you go from that to being a GM. Like, how naive were you back then when you look back at that time?
I don't think I was naive. I think I had a pretty good feel because I had coached for 4 years in Phoenix, and I played. I was involved a lot with Brian Colangelo as a young general manager and Jerry Colangelo, who's a fantastic owner. They involved me a great deal in the personnel decisions, and I was in those conversations. And so I felt like I knew what I was getting into, and I've enjoyed being in Boston. We have great ownership in Boston as well, and I've had a great partnership with them, and that's the whole key, is if you can get your coaching staff and your owners and your general managers on the same page, it's a fun job.
You got a Larry Bird story for us before we let you go? One I haven't heard.
Oh, man, I got so many Larry Bird stories. Like the greatest thing about Larry, I mean, every time I just think of Larry, I just think of the extreme confidence of Larry. I always thought I was confident. I always thought Kevin McHale was confident, but Larry just had a different level.
But he would tell guys that he was going to shoot in their face, like, I'm going to do this. I was always amazed that, guys would say, Larry would say, like Xavier McDaniel, he told me he's going to shoot a jumper right in my face right there.
Yeah, no, I remember that whole story vividly, but there was a lesser told story where he made a bet with the trainer of the New York Knicks. And before the game, we were out shooting three. Larry and I were shooting threes before the game. And Larry, he said, "Hey, I'll bet you $20 you can't bank one in like that in the game." And Larry goes, "You're on." And so the game proceeds, and we're we get ahead by about 20 points the fourth quarter. Our bench comes in the game, and all of a sudden, the Knicks are starting to creep back in the game, but it still feels like we have the game under control. And the trainer for the Knicks looks down at me and, says, like, get Larry. his attention. He sends him the sign, like, you owe me $20. You never banked in a three-pointer. And Larry goes, crap, I can't believe I forgot that, and so sure enough, the game gets down to 7 points, I think it was, and Casey Jones puts the starters back in the game. And within the first 2 or 3 possessions, Larry gets a shot on the corner and banks in a three-pointer. At that stage of the game, with a close game, I could see it with a 20-point lead, but, I got so many of the confident stories like that, but that's just, he cared more about that $20 bet than he did the game.
He was so cheap. I could just imagine. I didn't want to owe him $20, Yeah, I love it. Hey, good luck with Tanner. Great to talk to you again, Danny. Congrats on the success there in Boston, and hopefully we'll catch up again.
Dan, you've made pretty good for yourself these last 15 years since I last saw you.
Yeah, you said that I was basically done. My career was over, and I said, I got to prove you wrong, Danny. Yeah, you motivated me.
That was only your golf.
Oh, yeah, you were right about that.
Your career.
Marley was the one who was great in golf. We weren't.
Right, Dan, like, he didn't have a job.
No, just shoot a couple of three-pointers, occasionally try to guard Jordan and get a good suntan. That's all Marley did his whole life, right?
Hey, he's done a great job of coaching down in Arizona, though. That may be his niche there. He's done a fantastic job down there.
Yeah, that atmosphere is some of the best atmosphere in college basketball. Hey, it's great to catch up with you. Have fun tonight with the dunk tank, and good luck to Tanner. Thank you, Danny.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
That's Danny Ainge.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.